Okay, we have come to the last Dhamma discussion of this Kalalgoda English medium retreat. So we have received a couple of written questions. We will start the session with written questions.
Avasara Bante, we have received 6 reports. Report number 1, Theruan Saranai Bante. I wish to submit my following meditation report for your kind guidance. So grateful to you when I see my improvements instantly with your Dhamma talks and other advices given to other yogis too, which are applicable to me too. I am now able to concentrate quickly in my seated meditation, Anapanaya, when watching my breath, inhalation and exhalation, in a short time can arrive at a very calm position. Even sometimes mind tries to pick other signs like sounds, feelings or mental imaginations. Almost very moment I realize it and let it go. When breath becomes subtler and subtler, the point of notice vanishes. However, the awareness of the breath continues in my full session. And consciousness prevails and I feel still it fighting hard to get established in the mind faculty. Hope you will kindly guide me further. May you have the opportunity in ceasing your sansara with this birth itself. Theruan Saranai.
So basically, you know the technique, you know the theory. So it's a matter of sort of weakening the establishment of the consciousness. But the consciousness in the sense that the awareness is there, so that is a kind of a natural awareness, inherent type of awareness that is already there. But this coming and going process, arising and passing away process, building and growing, establishing process of the consciousness is what through the Vipassana meditation, so we are slowly weakening. And as we discussed on Friday in the Upaya Sutta, that is what Buddha clarifies. So the consciousness to establish it either use the form, either use feelings, or either use perceptions or formations, mental formations. Now, particularly in the Kayanupassana, in Anapanasati, so we are reducing other distractions and trying to concentrate on the bodily phenomena, and very much like in the form aggregate. So now form aggregate also getting weaker and weaker or subtler and subtler. So that is where the establishment of the consciousness become very much difficult, or it can't sustain. So at that time, various things can happen. It can look for something, what is available inside. So that is where, say for example, you get all of a sudden various perceptions, various sanyas, certain marks can come, signs can come. And so if we give prominence to that and if we get attached to that again consciousness find its way to establish. Or sometimes immediately I want to do something. So again some mental formations, intentions coming forward. And I am again going to providing some food for the consciousness. So if we know the technique, what we are doing really exactly in this Vipassana process, then you know, when, as we discussed, when we are progressing, when we are sort of defeating the establishment of the consciousness in one system, in one way, the others also we have to take care not to allow them to sort of grow. So it's a tedious process actually. Even though we tell it, when we are doing it practically, there are various glitches can happen. And unknowingly we get attached, unknowingly we allow the consciousness to establish. And as you said, sometimes when the bodily consciousness weakens, so we probably give some value to the mental process or the whatever the mental phenomena, and ultimately the consciousness in the mentality. So what you call the manoviññāna part, so that we allow. Then still has some food. So in a way, kind of a tricky process that we need to go through. So even when breath becomes subtler and subtler, so are we able to maintain that subtlety or maintain that very calm, relax, without giving much food, just maintaining that. So it's very much like we are coming closer to that middle line. So if you consider our way of living, our life, so it's a kind of an up and down process. It's like a waveform. It's continuously up and down. And more and more we are now coming closer to this baseline or the zero line. So these ups and downs become less and less. So at the amplitude become less and less. So we are getting closer to this middle line. And just be there. That's the most difficult part. How just be there. Because we feel bored. Because ups and downs are exciting. Worries are exciting. Excitements are exciting. Say, whatever the, say, impingements happen to the faculties, they are really exciting. They are triggering the mind. So they give some activity to the mind. But here, we are calming down the process and allowing it to settle, but without falling asleep, have to be awake. That is the other challenge. So as you are progressing, so when things are settling, most of the time the yogi going to sleep. That also cannot be avoided immediately, because maintaining sort of a mindfulness without much of an activity is a kind of a difficult. Because the activities are the ones agitating the mind and keep it awake. But now we are minimizing the agitation, minimizing the activities, minimizing intentions, and allowing whatever the available things to go away, to relinquish, and just be. Can try. So that's why, typically sometimes even we call, okay, I have reached emptiness. Most probably it may not be the most purest form of emptiness, because there may be little attachments. So that is where Buddha even mentioned, say, if one reaches the arupa jhana. So those are very subtle levels of the mind, but still Buddha mentioned, still mind is attached to that. Mind is attached in the sense, established in that. Consciousness has established in that. So while being in the emptiness, so we have to do more and more refinements. One day, so we may come to the most purest form of emptiness, where no establishment at all might happen. So that is why, practically when we are implementing it, we have to go through it. We have to practically face difficulties and all the obstacles, and we have to go through it, maintain that, and ultimately, so maybe kind of a relinquishment, cessation, and these kind of things can happen. Yeah.
Number 2, Venerable Bhante, Avasarai. I practice meditation on the breath and can notice the different types, beginning, middle and end, and also the instant between the end of one and beginning of the next. However, I cannot keep my attention on the breath object as much as I like. I realize I can watch my thoughts equally well like the breath. Recently I realized I could keep my attention on sunlight falling on a wall, within brackets, a form of elementary kasina bhavana, also similarly. Is it all right to practice all these as my main aim to keep my attention from wandering as long as possible? Oba Vahanseta Ping, Avasarai.
No harm. So if you know what you are doing, you can manage it. Say, as you said, it's a kind of an object available, and it's a subtle object, kasina, very much like aloka kasina, and you can keep it as a kind of a image, mental image. Focus on that and keep yourself established there and maintain your concentration. No harm. It may sort of makes your mind firm, concentrated. But later, only thing is you have to come back to yourself, come back to the body or various feelings, because they are the ones we are using for Vipassana. Kasina we can't use for Vipassana. Rather, we have to come back to ourselves. After fair amount of concentration is now available, now again come back to yourself. Observe what is happening in the body. What are the feelings arising? What are the thoughts arising? Now you have mentioned you are capable of looking at thoughts now, so that's a good sign. So look at it. Allow the mind to freely little move, because now you are confident, and allow that process to go on. Let the mind to freely move and recognize how these movements are happening, how various thoughts are happening, how various images are happening, and not without getting deluded by them. If you are able to observe their behavior, that is the field of Vipassana, where various insights are possible. I mean, insights are possible because you are doing kind of a non-judgmental observation. So then the insights are your own, based on the real observations, investigations. They are not kind of borrowed insights. Rather, you have done your own experiment, and through that experiments only you get certain insights. So you can, seems that you are capable of doing what you are telling, so you can continue. Yeah.
Report number 3. Today morning meditation session. Was watching rising and falling. Body became very calm within few minutes. After that, all sorts of thoughts were starting to flash through. Very often, before I note that a thought arises, it has passed away. At times, I lose the track of it. With much effort only, I have to know that a thought came. I hear the outside noises but not took any notice. At times I realized that my body is bending and I adjusted, knowing without disturbing the moment. About 45 minutes it was watching the thoughts coming and going, but was not interested in analyzing those. Some time ago I used to experience the calmness as I sit and then move on to no thoughts zone, experiencing the blank mind, but now most of the sittings are same as today morning sitting. Your guidance is appreciated very much. May the Noble Triple Gem bless you.
Yeah, no harm. Don't expect to always be in the blank mind. It is not the thing. Allow the mind to freely move. So that helps you to go to even subtle layers. Assume that the mind is consisting of different layers. Say, if you are deepening your understanding or deepening your, say, concentration, say you, first of all, you come across the most shallow level. So some amount of thought, some amount of, tendencies available there, you encounter. And you are able to let them go. Now, assume that it has finished and you are experiencing some sort of a calmness, no thoughts, emptiness. You are there. But as you are familiarizing there, again now you are coming even deeper level. Still something is available in that deeper level, and that also has to be removed. That also has to be purified. Now you have to sort of have to give a kind of a fight with that. So now those thoughts are coming, those tendencies, traits are coming, and you have to be vigilant. Just be aware. These two are coming and going. These two are thoughts. These two are various traits. And one day these two will be eliminated. These two will be weakened and abandoned. Again you may encounter calmness, clarity, emptiness, which is much deeper than the previous state and much stable than the previous state. So different ways actually we can explain. Say for example, you are at the very earlier stages, say you are like in a cocoon where it's a kind of a smaller circular, a smaller, say, diameter. But as with time, some more and more thoughts coming and obstacles are coming, but you are handling them properly, then you are expanding your perimeter, expanding the diameter. And the area that you can maintain as the emptiness become larger and larger. It's expanded. So you can interpret in different ways. So this is how typically it happens. So no need to expect that every day the perfect kind of emptiness should be available. Things may go up and down. More and more we encounter, that is good, because kind of a purification is happening. And again, thing is, even when you are maintaining some sort of an emptiness, still certain stronger emotions, stronger feelings, maybe thoughts can penetrate. So that is where we have to have kind of a resilience, we can say. Say, even when such difficult ones you encounter, still you are capable of returning back. Quickly gain your, say, clarity. Establish yourself back in the emptiness. So likewise, it's an ongoing process, so no harm. Yeah.
Report number 4, Most Venerable Bhante. During morning Q&A, you explained Satara Brahma Vihara, the functions of Metta, Mudita, Karuna and Upekha. Can you please elaborate how one can develop Upekha? Do you achieve it through meditation practice? In business language, is it what they call emotional intelligence?
I can't say it is the emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is more where you can recognize someone else's emotions, and you are clearly knowing what others are going through, and you are sort of sensitive to their feelings, sensitive to their emotions. You are not like kind of a dumb or kind of an indifferent kind of a person. Rather, you can feel what is really going on, and you can accordingly you can deal with the situation, rather than say, now she is crying, so you are laughing. So I mean, mismatch is there. So when she is crying, you have to tell, okay, don't worry, so and so. Things will be all right. You may get full today. Now the government is working hard, so another ship has arrived. So don't worry. So you have to know the emotions. So that is emotional intelligence. But on the other hand, what's the other point I asked?
How do you practice Upekha? How do you develop it?
Yeah, actually Upekha, different levels are there. Different kinds of Upekha is mentioned in Dhamma. Chalang Upekha. Altogether 6 types of Upekha, equanimity, is explained. Say for example, if you consider the samatha meditation, say in the first jhana, it is not much upekha. Second, it's still not much. Third, not much. But the fourth is the most, prominent kind of upekha is explained because, all the emotions and the, feelings are fairly calm, and what you are experiencing is a kind of a neutral state of mind. So that is what someone may experience through the samatha meditation. So you can see, as we are maturing, it is not the happiness, it is not the worry or the pain, but going towards the upekha. So upekha is a more progress level. Immediately we may not encounter upekha. At the beginning we may go through certain blissful states or maybe painful states, of course, as a beginner, but later maybe certain blissful states. But they are not the real, you can call it some kind of fruit. But as we are moving forward, upekha is much more mature than this happiness and the pain, etc. On the other hand, if you consider, say, Vipassana part, say you are observing various phenomena. Say you are observing various bodily phenomena. Concentration is there, various bodily phenomena are arising, and you can maintain kind of an equanimous mind. Say hardness, softness, and all different kinds of bodily elementary characteristics are happening. But you can step back and watch. There are also some kind of equanimity is available. Because you are not going to control them, you are maintaining kind of a neutrality, you are not trying to interfere with the ongoing process. So you have kind of a step back. So this coming out of the situation, coming out of the experience, and allowing it to happen. So that is one attribute of upekkha. And later, say things are constantly arising and passing away. So in other terms, we can call it, okay, this is your very body, it is arising and passing away, disintegrating. But you are not shocked. Still you can maintain upekkha. So you can see how your maturity is improving. So the maturity of upekkha, the level of upekkha, the strength of upekkha is growing now. Even when things are arising and passing away, you can maintain equanimity. You are not shocked by that. You are not disturbed by that, but you can carefully watch it, step back and watch it. And suppose now everything is disintegrating. You see the bhanga, the disintegration, dissolution. Still you can maintain your stability. Another level of upekkha. Say you are able to let go of everything. Nothing is available. Kind of an empty mind. Again upekkha. So upekkha is a really broader spectrum in that sense. So different levels of upekkha therefore we can discuss. So more and more mind become equanimous and you can maintain such an equanimity. But it doesn't mean that kind of bored kind of a thing. But it is based on some understanding. But if you consider the samatha meditation, it is not much with wisdom. It is by suppressing various defilements and you are maintaining kind of a upekkha. But in the vipassana part, so you have fair amount of wisdom. As a result of that, mind has let go of, and as a result of that, mind has its own upekkha. So it's very much like mind's natural state is very much like upekkha. Yeah. Chalang upekkha may be available in Anguttara Nikaya. I can't exactly remember the name of the sutta, but I gave a monthly program on last Saturday. Sometimes we used to do even in Kalalgoda one in certain Saturdays early morning. So in that program, actually, I can remember that I delivered a sermon on this equanimity. There I found, certain suttas are explaining that, or maybe I can't remember, maybe suttas or in the commentary. I think maybe in the commentary. So they discussed, they analyzed different levels of experiences, as I just give some examples. So 6 types of upekkha they are explaining. Yeah. Can't remember a sutta, but mostly it is by the commentator who analyzed and telling, okay, these different kinds of upekkha yogi may encounter at different stages. Yeah.
Report number 5. Most Venerable Bhante, Avasarai. Please could you explain how we should apply Yoniso Manasikara in our mundane day-to-day lives? Example, when sweeping the house, does one apply Yoniso Manasikara? How does one apply Yoniso Manasikara? Thank you, Bhante. Much merit to you.
Yeah, so typically, our minds doesn't penetrate. It usually takes the surface value and it only stays on the surface. So that is where we sometimes carried away by the names, appearances, various perceptions. So we can't see deeper. So that is the Ayoniso Manasikara. Say, when you are seeing someone, assume that someone that you don't like to see, immediately kind of hatred coming, kind of a resentment coming, kind of a repulsion coming, because you don't like. But you are taking the face value, so immediately taking as a person, I don't like him. So this is where the Ayoniso Manasikara. So we haven't gone to the deeper levels. So simply stop at the wrong kind of interpretations, wrong judgments. But on the other hand, and actually they are based on the what you call the perversions. Say, seeing when there is no person, but we attribute a person, a self. When there is no real happiness, but we attribute kind of a happiness. when things are impermanent, still we attribute kind of a permanency. So likewise, certain perversions are there in ourselves. So we being trapped in those. So in the Yoniso Manasikara part, so we are trying to penetrate rather than simply carried away by the face value. So we are trying to see a little deeper. Say for example, if you are seeing someone, so rather than considering immediately he is a person, he is a woman, he is a man, something like that. So how about considering, okay, this is 32 parts. So little penetration is there. Now you are not taking as the whole unit or as a one thing. Now you are able to understand, okay, this is not just a one thing. I mean, this is a combination of so many bodily parts, anatomical parts. So that is one level of penetration. Say further, assume if you are understanding the elements. So there also probably you can understand, okay, this is not a person, a man, woman, but this is a process of elements. So another level of understanding. As we discussed today, understanding these as 5 aggregates, another level of understanding. So without simply allowing the typical perversions in the mind to delude us, now we are trying to apply what we have experienced, what we have heard according to the Dhamma, to realize certain deeper levels, understandings. So that is leading more towards the Yoniso Manasikara. Actually, another aspect of Yoniso Manasikara is where the cause and effect, where how things are happening in deeper sense, how ignorance conditions various formations, how formations condition establishment of the consciousness, and how it is getting established on name and form. So these are sort of, you are going more deeper to the source. So Yoniso Manasikara have that tendency to go to the source, not just be in the surface, but really finding the source. So that is one aspect of Yoniso Manasikara. Actually, we are training ourselves practically to do that. Say for example in breathing. Say you are keeping your attention on each and every breath. Without just being there, now you are trying to recognize the beginning of the in-breath, beginning of the out-breath. You are trying to recognize the whole cycle of the breathing. So you are closely penetrating the whole scenario, whole process. And assume that you are able. Now you are experiencing the beginning, the middle, the end. There is a slight gap. Again, the beginning, the middle, the end. So this is where we are refining our attention and focusing our mind and trying to understand these subtle aspects. So this skill, once developed in ourselves, now even in the day-to-day activities, as you have mentioned, say you are sweeping. So rather than taking only the surface value, probably you can go through that process while observing various, say, element characteristics, or if you are watching your mind, what are the thoughts going on in that while you are sweeping. So likewise, daily activities you can do while observing the mind. So then you are not being carried away by various other things. Rather, you do kind of Yoniso Manasikara, you are vigilant what's really going on without being trapped in the mundane way of thinking. Yeah.
This has 2 parts. I'll read number 1 first. Venerable Bhante, thank you very much for your continued guidance. Question 1. Where we practice metta, does the people to whom we spread metta benefit from it? Or is it solely for our practice?
Bent what? Bent for me?
When we spread, does the people whom we spread metta benefit out of it?
Benefit. Okay. I mean, I don't know whether people have measured it really, whether that kind of the others to whom that we do metta, whether they really got the benefit. Are there any examples anybody can come through? I mean, certain situations we can consider, say, for example, say when when Nalagiri approaches the Buddha. So Buddha didn't use a weapon or gun, but kind of a metta. So even that animal has surrendered because of this kind of loving kindness. And on the other hand, in terms of the scientific findings, now as we are practicing various types of meditations, actually a kind of waveforms are emanating from our brain, and there may be a kind of a defect. So that is what they are analyzing. So different meditation techniques are there. So whenever you are doing those different kinds of meditation techniques, certain parts of your brain are being activated and certain waveforms are emanating. Gamma waveforms, likewise, they come across different things. So ultimately we are working on this wave levels, energies. So even though we individually call you, me, so and so, ultimately what is operating is very much like this waves. So I can remember that I saw one video, somebody called Lee or someone, I can't remember. He's a scientist and he's explaining this more thoroughly, and he even asked, when you are dealing with another person, if you have a bad feeling about this person, then definitely the relationship going to be sort of unhealthy, because you are already having kind of a judgment, already having a preconceived idea, and while keeping that you are operating. So even though the other person is not aware of it, since you are emanating that kind of a negative, say, waves, so that scientist is mentioning, so the other person may slowly, not as a person, these waves are not properly matching. They are not properly integrating, not properly interfering. They are not properly matching. So kind of a mismatch happen, and high probability is the relationship may break. But on the other hand, when you are maintaining kind of a gratitude, acceptance, loving kindness, kind of that sort of a positive mentality in yourself, the other person also may feel it. He too may accordingly participate in the event. So therefore, so actually he, with evidence, he is explaining that. So therefore, even with the present scientific evidences, so these are having some effect. So you therefore can't say that this metta is just for my own purification. Main impact is there, true, because you are very much minimizing the anger and all sorts of negative attitudes you have. So main benefit is for you, but the other person also may have an impact. Yes. Telepathy. Maybe. And there are actually, now say for example, Metta Sutta, Karaniya Metta Sutta. So the advice is given like a mother protecting her own child. So to have kind of a mentality, kind of a loving kindness towards all the beings. So that is the maximum we can do in a way. So the others are included in your conscious awareness. So you can accommodate. You are not rejecting anyone. So these are very interesting. In terms of the spirituality, in terms of the humanity, and these are pretty interesting, because sometimes what we do is we are creating our own private space. Don't come, don't disturb me. So this is how we typically operate. But it's very selfish, isn't it? So as meditators, true, to some extent we need to maintain some privacy and have our own private space. But more and more, as we are moving forward, accommodating, say allowing others also to come and see, and you are maintaining kind of a tolerance, patience. You can tolerate the thing now because you are confident now. You know the thing. You have gone through the thing. So let another person sort of understand it, and you become kind of a source of metta. And even in the Vipassana, Buddha mentioned, even when you are coming to very higher levels, say even to the level of Bojjangas. And there also Buddha mentioned, you can even develop Bojjanga maintaining kind of a loving kindness as a kind of base. Metta sahagatang sati sambojjangam bhaveti. Vivekanisitang, viraganisitang, nirodhanisitang, osagga parinaming. So while maintaining the attitude of loving kindness, you can further develop tranquility, further develop mindfulness, further develop concentration. So like that Buddha has explained. So Brahma Viharas therefore are, as the term mentioned, those are the sublime abodes. Yeah.
In the morning you had a question in the Q&A session. That lady said she doesn't like talking much, but then through kindness she does her job and she gets the kindness back.
Yes.
Something.
That's what I feel. The others may somehow feel it. I mean, we are conscious beings, no? When someone is having a pleasant attitude, so honestly doing the job, and not just neglectful, rather considerate, so you feel it. So in that sense, that emotional intelligence is that. And then when you are in trouble, you know to whom do I have to ask for help. Say you have 10 friends. Usually you approach the person that you feel comfortable. You feel that he may listen to me. He may understand my problem. And he is more empathetic. So that person is ready there for you to come and talk. And he may listen to you carefully. So that kind of awareness, understanding builds up as we are associating people. So therefore, even though we have different people, so some people are having that skill. I mean, they are approachable. It is not that you have to be a really master or really, say, rich person, but you are kind of an approachable. Someone can come and talk to you. You are ready to listen. You are ready to give a little advice, to maintain giving some companionship. So those are pretty interesting, pretty necessary, because I mean, we sometimes can't console ourselves by ourselves. Say completely calm down ourselves sometimes in certain difficult situations. Then sometimes we need someone else's help, encouragement. So therefore, it's a ongoing process. Yeah.
Question number 2. Yesterday's sermon, the power went out towards the end. You said that Lord Buddha has mentioned 4 supports to prosper on the path. Could Bhante please mention the last 2?
Yeah, that is actually available in the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. So those are more into Vipassana. As we assume that you encounter the anisita state. So blank kind of emptiness in your mind. So you went through fair amount of practice. So that practice has built up fair amount of insights. So that insights are the panya. Panyang nappa majjaya. So you are not neglecting the development of the wisdom. You are not neglecting the development of vipassana. So you are gaining that wisdom. So therefore Buddha mentioned, so don't be heedless about wisdom. You be heedful about the development of the wisdom. So that is one aspect, one support. Then through the development of wisdom, what you have achieved? So the emptiness of the mind. So now you are able to maintain a mind which is non-grasping, not holding anything. So not associating anything. So Buddha asks us to take it as the truth. Satchang anurakheya. So Buddha mentioned, so you take it for the time being. This is the true state of mind. This is a more calm state of mind. This is more kind of a refuge for the time being. So stay there. Satchang anurakheya, and you do support that. I mean, again and again associate that. So that is the second support that we have to give. Then Buddha mentioned Chagamanu bruheya. That means whatever the I making, whatever the ego coming, you got to relinquish. So don't allow these eye-making, mind-making to pollute this purified state of mind. So those eye-making, mind-making, all those upadi, what you call, assets. So you are defining a self, a person using different things. So those has to be relinquished. Chaga manubruheya. Then the last one is santimeva sosikheya. So maintain a mind free from defilements. Don't allow this purity of mind get defiled by lust, by hatred, delusion, jealousy, whatever the negativities. So don't allow them to defile this what you have earned. Santimeva so sikheya. So these are the 4 foundations or 4 supports that Buddha mentioned in the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. Very beautiful. Panyadittano, Satchadittano, Chagadittano, Upasamadittano. So adittana in that context, what mentioned as what is mean is sort of 4 supports, like this table maintained through 4 legs. So your pure state of mind is maintained through these 4 supports. Very interesting, very deep sutta. What you call this Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, and I think we conduct a series of Dhamma sermons here in Kalalgoda in Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta.
You have done a book also?
There's a single book also published in Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta. Very interesting. Yeah. That's all, right? So these are the written questions we have received. If you have any other question,
you will have many, Bhante, because yesterday during that Q&A there were many ladies who wanted to ask many questions.
Really? Okay.
You will have today.
Okay. One moment, yeah. Can't hear. No problem. You can talk, yes.
Swami Vahansa, when a person dies, normally you come to a certain state of mind where you go through not knowing whether you will die or not. And if that happens, will he be born as a devil or...
You have to die and see.
It's a bit confusing.
No, actually we can't say so. I mean, even when a person dies very much unconscious, still Buddha mentioned, because of the past karma and because of what he has somewhat familiarized, habituated in the long term in his way of living, so that defines, that decides where he is going to have the rebirth. Yeah. So even when, assume that you are dying because of an accident, all of a sudden, but still it is not very much uncertain, rather depending on how you have lived your life and what are the things that you have cultivated in the mind, so that decides the next birth. That is that floating state, what you call as the Gandhabba, it is not accepted in Theravada. So considering that till we get the appropriate rebirth, maintaining kind of an in-between transitory life, it's not accepted in Theravada, but in certain other beliefs, it is accepted.
What is the difference between Theravada and the other one?
Yeah, Theravada in the sense, say immediately once you die in this life, you get immediately the next moment you are born as another person, as another being. There is no any transitory state.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Swami Vahansa, before I ask my question, now after Swami Vahansa said about being selfish, I just wonder, don't we get secluded when we are in the path and like I feel it, and I just don't feel lonely like I feel we normally look for the other's company, but I feel okay to cope with, and most of my friends, I don't know whether I had not that I had left them, but you get such a feeling.
Yes, yes.
And you are completely happy about yourself, like you are not alone simply. And I wonder whether, according to Jnanananda Swami Wahanse, Uttaritara Udakala, and
yes.
So is it the selfishness?
No. You can't say it's as a selfishness. Rather, I mean, typically selfishness is that when your friend coming and asking help, so you deny. So that is a kind of selfishness. But here you are more confident, and you love to be alone, and you feel connected to the whole thing. I mean, you are part of the whole universe, and therefore you don't feel that you are alone. So you are enjoying the whole thing, and you are already a part of it. And even though it's a kind of a seclusion, but we are not secluded. We are not alone. I mean, you can connect with the whole. I mean, even a breeze come, you can enjoy. Even a little bird sing, you can enjoy. I mean, so you are well connected. So therefore Buddha encouraged that. And even when we call as the Viveka Nisitang, so the mind also very much like restful, and body also maybe, I mean, you are living alone. I mean, not much of an association. Say, Buddha denied that what you call the Ganasanganikaramata. Say, you are always wanting to be with others and to have kind of a company with many friends and going to parties and all sort of that sort of socializing. So that socializing is not encouraged. I mean, rather than you are forcefully avoiding it. So, I mean, as you are growing, it may automatically happen. So you may minimize the parties. You may minimize too much of sort of associating with so many others. Like you like to be alone, but as I said, you don't feel alone. You feel sort of complete or satisfied. But that is not selfishness. Yes, yeah.
My question is, Swami Wahanse, last night I experienced this while in the sitting meditation. I felt like it's not uprooting, but it's like I was taken out from the seat, sort of, and floatish like. And my question is whether when such things, magical moments happen, whether it's to do with my Animitta Samadhi, which I was experiencing a few weeks ago. I was speaking with you last time. And what should I do? Do I have to just watch these things? And
yeah, just watching. I mean, do you think that you have lifted from the whole? Yeah.
But like,
I mean, you feel floating.
No,
yeah,
yes,
it can
the
happen.
connection is gone. Like, we are connected to the cushion. Even I didn't understand what was happening. It was not for many, hours and hours, but I wondered why, what. Then it's like somebody was, not somebody, but it just came up, and then my balance is not there. But I was not falling sensation, but
right.
I was like floating just for a few seconds, and I wondered whether it's the problem in going on samadhi. You were explaining to me not to go for samadhi too much, then it will have problems and all.
Some amount of samadhi also there, because when the samadhi is there, the tranquility available. So the tranquility is the one making the body lighter, the mind lighter, kaya lahuta, chitta lahuta. So these are happening because of this tranquility, the passaddhi. And no harm. No harm, because feeling lighter is more comfortable. And more comfortable means your mind is ready to concentrate. It doesn't want to wander any other place. It likes to stay with yourself. No harm. Just stay and see. Probably you can next time walk through the sky.
Not really, so
Actually, certain, I don't know. These are whether these are imaginations. Even through Saddha, there are certain commentarial stories that, when it is mentioned about the piti, the rapture. So different, 5 levels or 5 categories of rapture explained. Kanika piti, kuddika piti, parana piti, okappana piti. So likewise different categories are mentioned. So in one category it is mentioned that when one is going through it, so one may get this floating experience. So it's a kind of a piti, rapture. So it has the characteristics of losing the heaviness and makes the whole body and the mind completely lighter, and you feel like you are floating, like something like that.
My problem was because last time when I had this Animitta Samadhi, Swamin Wansi was asking me to control the Paryanka. So while at Kalalgoda, I didn't do Paryanka much, mostly the walking.
Right.
And my problem was that whether these things are happening in a normal way, or is there anything wrong in my...
No, I don't think. Now even Animitta part, I am not asking to completely remove it or to abandon it, but keep it under control. Say control in the sense, you don't have much control. Say don't over practice.
You mean the Paryanka?
Yeah, maybe two may be enough. Say in the morning or in the evening, wherever it is comfortable, and in one stretch, maximum about 1 hour. That's enough. Because otherwise, if you get really attached to that state and always going there and just stay there for hours and hours, that is not good. So that may lose the balance. That can even go to kind of a hyperactivity of the mind. So that is not advisable. So just maintaining it, like even if we are taking a medicine, so we have to take it with the proper dose. No, similarly here, samadhi. So we have to properly handle it. So 1 hour sitting, maybe in the morning, and maybe even the stretch. 1 hour sitting and then you go for walk, again coming back, another 1 hour. No harm. Things are happening smoothly. Other than that, say 3 hours morning, 3 hours evening, 3 hours night, that's little too much. Because these are some powerful states of the mind when we consider the Vipassana, and that impact may remain in your mind. So even when you go to the walking, the mind may be empty. So therefore, maintain that to some extent. No need to go for a very strict or scheduled kind of meditation at that level. So allow things to happen naturally. Now assume that previously we were maintaining a schedule. So you are a strict kind of a meditator. So strictly you are maintaining kind of a schedule in the morning, 1 hour, then another 1 hour walking, another 1 hour sitting, another 1 hour walking, another 1 hour walking. Say you maintain a strict schedule. But as we are moving progress, we have to maintain kind of a flexible schedule. So we have to allow things to happen naturally rather than we controlling it. Then it is much better. Yeah, on that. Yeah. That one sunlight.
Anyone else has any questions?
Yeah. You can use the mic. Yeah.
About the Maitri, I just read a book today. If somebody is doing Maitri to a person, not really for the benefit of others, but thinking that by doing that Maitri, I am
benefited. Definitely.
So that will become a Vanchanika Dharma.
Vanchanika Dharma. I can't say it is a Vanchanika Dhamma. But on the other hand, point is, now it can come, now say you have a kind of an attachment towards the opposite sex. Then it appear like loving kindness. So therefore lust can appear in disguised way, can come as loving kindness. That is mentioned. Say, metta mukhena rago vancheti. So as in the face of loving kindness, what is actually internally available is lust. It can happen. So that is why sometimes when we are advising the yogis, so it is mentioned, say when you are starting loving kindness meditation, don't go with another opposite sex person. Rather do to the same type of person, same sex person. Say you are doing to your start with yourself, and then to go for further, say you are selecting a respectable person, maybe teacher or someone to whom that you respect and you have kind of a honor, and you really expect his growth, development. That is easy to develop loving kindness to that person. So that person has to be same sex, not take a female or that's like that, just the same sex person. If you are a man, then take another man. If you are a woman, take another woman. So that is advised. But other than that, I mean, when you do loving kindness, getting the benefits to yourself is not kind of a cheating, but rather, I mean, that is normal. And actually, just now I remember, I think you know Anagarika Dharmapala. So when he went to save Bodh Gaya, so that's a very popular story that he had to go through the court cases because it was acquired by Mahanta in that country, in that area. So Anagarika Dharmapala has to go through these court cases, and next day he may have to face something. And what he did was he took a photo of that whoever with whom that he has to deal with, and while keeping that photo, he practiced metta. So the next day when he really come across this person, so he is more familiar. So without much problem, he can answer the question and he can go through the situation. So in a way, it has some impact. I don't know, it's still the Anagarika Dharmapala only himself had the impact. Could be the other person also may had an impact. I mean, difficult to, scientifically find these evidences. But as I mentioned in the video that I have referred, so he is proving, even though we individually as persons that we operate, ultimately when it comes to the magnetic fields and all, so those are the waves ultimately reacting. So if you are emanating the positive fields, positive waves, so the other person's fields also get properly matched. Yeah. Okay, if there are no any other questions, then we can wind up the session. So there are several sharing of merits. Punyanumodana for the donors and donors of Sakman Malu, led by Indira, I can't remember. Indira Vedage. Much merit to all the donors and for all the physical help to do the Sakman Malu. Sakman Malu, right? Sakman paths, yeah. Yeah, I saw that you have put new sand, and that is, appealing and giving a pleasant environment. Actually, that is necessary. Maintaining our center tidy, beautiful, attractive in the sense more tidy, neat. So that is required so that it's easy to concentrate, easy to maintain the clarity of mind. So that actually matters. And then breakfast by Harshani and Manisha Samarajiva to wish a happy birthday to Yogi Gayatri. May she obtain the best results in her pursuit to shorten the sansaric journey. May her sister Devika Jayavardhana attain Nibbana. And then lunch dana, right? Dayakatte Susila Pereira Manian ha Dudaruan Visini. අපට මේ ගෝර කටුක සංසාර දුකින් නිදහස් වීම සඳහා අවවාද අනුශාසනා උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන සියලුම ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේලාට අප සියලු දෙනා විසින් රැස් කරනු ලබන සියලු කුසල් අනුමෝදන් කරමි. අනුමෝදන් වීමෙන් නිදුක් නිරෝගී සුව දීර්ඝායුෂ ලැබේවා. ඊතා ඉක්මන් භවයකදීම උතුම් චතුරාර්ය සත්‍ය ධර්මය අවබෝධ වේවා. අප පවුල්වල සියලු දෙනාටත් සියලු යෝගී පිරිසටත් මෙම දානමය කුසලය උතුම් චතුරාර්ය සත්‍ය අවබෝධ වීම පිණිසම හේතු වේවා. පරලෝසපත් ස්වාමි පුරුෂයාටත් අප දෙදෙනාගේම දෙමව්පියන් සහෝදර සහෝදරියන් ඇතුළු සංසාරගත සියලු මියගිය ඥාතීන්ටත් මේ පින් අනුමෝදන් කරමි. ඔවුන්ටද සසර දුකින් අත මිදී නිවන් අවබෝධ කර ගැනීම සඳහා මේ පින් හේතු වේවා. හොඳයි. So those are the sharing of merits, and So with that, we can conclude this month's Kalalgoda English Medium Retreat. So even today, you have spent fair amount of time discussing, listening to Dhamma, and again practicing. So all the merits that we have accrued, let's share with all the past relatives, with all the celestial beings, and whoever in need of merits. And we wish these merits help us also to attain path, fruition, Nibbana. While keeping these good wishes in our mind, let's recite the traditional verses. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mamparang. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Idang vo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukita hontu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.